We are a brand new muscle car, and we build resto mods. We're talking cars that look like a classic, but drive like a brand new car. Mustangs are our specialty, and we're setting out to build the ultimate 67 Fastback.
So what we got going on now is the booth quit on us. So we had a suction problem whenever we were spraying our base coat. We noticed that the suction wasn't coming down and we just had a haze in the booth. Went back and did a couple things, try to fix it. Didn't work out for us. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to take it out of booth 1 and put it over into booth 2. That's a good thing we have 2 paint booths, but we'll get it fixed and we'll get it ready to go. Straighten it up a little.
It's like you've done this before.
Yeah. He's our resident driver.
I was gonna say, he's a little quicker with it than Dustin was.
Yeah. I didn't want to lose a finger.
I know, I wouldn't either. That's why I came back here.
Yeah, that's it. Woo! NASCAR! Well, that just scared the crap out of me. Thanks, guys. Round 2.
So what happened before was we were in the other booth painting, and we could tell that the base coat was not getting drawn out of the booth correctly. And if we would have kept going, what that would have done is once we got to our clear stage, the sediments in the air would set back on top of our fresh clear, and it would have been a nightmare to buff. It would have looked really dull. It just wouldn't have had a nice clean gloss shine to it. Now we're just fine-tuning things. It's just an extra little precaution step to make sure that our final product is where we want it to be.
So what I'm doing here, just like Jared said, we're gonna over everything to make sure that there's no imperfections in it. So I got 600 grit sandpaper, the water bottle, a little bit of water on there, and you just nib them out, get them flat. That way whenever we rebase this, it'll all be smooth and you won't see it whenever you clear it. There won't be no dirt in it.
Yeah, and if there's dust, you can actually sand it out and go back over it. With a Candy, you get dust or a fly in it, you're living with it.
You're living with it. I remember one of the very first car I ever painted, right? Painting it in my grandpa's garage, right? And I get done, boom, oh man, the car looks great. It's a 93 Mustang. We leave, we come out the next morning, and there was a moth.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't flutter. He hit, his wings were out, and he stuck, and he stayed there for, I think 6 years later, he was still there. So what I did the next morning was I scuffed the fender all around him, and I just buried him in clear.
Cleared him in?
Yeah, I just cleared him in.
That's your signature.
Yeah, my buddy was like, are you kidding me? You're gonna leave that moth in my car? I was like, yes, I am, because I don't know how to take it out. I am new at this, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Me and Brandon was painting the front end of a Camaro one time at an old shop that we worked at, and we had a grasshopper land in it.
Oh my God.
With wings out. Yeah. So, remember that, B?
Yeah. We buried the heck out of it.
Yeah, we did.
So like with this,
Yep.
you know, normal base coat, clear coat, I'm a panel painter.
Right.
I noticed you wanted him to walk the panel yesterday.
Anytime it has a color shift pearl,
Okay.
you could probably panel paint it. It's just a fail-safe to walk it,
Right.
to make sure the color shift is all going the same way, right? Because otherwise, if you look at it, it might, you know, if you panel paint, the door might be going, you know, it might be flopping the opposite way.
Right.
That makes sense.
See, yeah, it makes sense.
That's why you never paint doors flat.
Yeah, exactly. Same exact reason.
Right.
down there.
Brand new muscle car Mustang RestoMod, presented by Classic Industries and brought to you by The Spray Source, the #1 source for professional and DIY paint products delivered right to your door. Quick latch, no tools required to operate. And by Clamp Tight, clamp anything, any size, any shape, anywhere.
I've been in the car business for about 10 years now. Started out in dealerships and got turned on to the restoration part of stuff. Cars are something that I like. I really have enjoyed them since I was a kid. Something about mechanical things that just kind of ease my mind, I guess. It's fun, it's rewarding when you're done with them. Making sure the customer gets what they want is of utmost importance because it's their money, it's their car. They're gonna have that car and enjoy that car, so hopefully it has everything that they want and there's no regrets when they get the car. It's exactly as they wanted it. Right now I'm working on this 1978 Corvette that is owned by Mr. Jones. This is another vehicle that he bought years ago and then parked it. And it literally sat behind a barn for 20 years. He never saw the car. And now it's getting restored to its glory days. Again, back original with some modern stuff on it, but it's another sentimental car that's getting what it deserves. Corvettes are a very unique animal. It's a lot of stuff in a small area that's kind of wedged together. When a car sits for that long, for 20 years or plus, anything that's rubber is deteriorated and no longer does what it's supposed to. All the plastic becomes brittle, all the shine that's on the car gets dulled, starts to rust, and it's just not good for cars to sit. This vehicle's being restored pretty much to the factory the way it came, except for it's getting some modern fuel injection and gauges and stuff like that. But other than that, it's gonna look completely original. So when it comes to personalizing a vehicle for the customer, unless they've said just go all out, do what you think is right, what you think is best, anybody that owns one of these cars have been very easy to talk to. They've got the same goal, right? And their goal is, I want my car to look like it was new and I still want it to be mine. So anything that you can do personal touch to the car, if that's what they want, I have no problem doing that. A lot of people like to keep the car the way it looked without the personal touches. Some people do like the personal touches that makes it their car.
Sorry, ladies, I'm married. I know. We will spray now, right now, as soon as I tack it off. Right now, I am tacking it off to get any dust that might be on there. This is a tack rag. It's got a sticky resin on it. And then you wipe that over the whole car and it'll take any dust that might be on the car. All right, change glasses from Clark Kent to Superman, or Clark Kent to Clark Kent, I don't know. Clark Kent to Superman, back to Clark Kent. So a lot of people ask, how much paint am I going to need for this? How much paint am I going to need for that? And to be honest with you, if you ask any painter, it's a complete guess. You don't know because it depends on the painter. It depends on if they spray heavy, if they spray light. It depends on if you're going to put 2 coats, 3 coats, 4 coats. It can go far down as depending on the weather, the humidity, the airflow, anything. It's a best guess. So what we do is we'll just mix up what we think that we might need. And then if we have to add and mix up more later, we will. But by the time you get to the end of the job, you pretty much know how much you're going to need to finish it up. And the thing is that I might spray differently than Brandon. Brandon sprays differently than me. Even though that we've worked with each other for 25 plus years, we spray completely different. I spray a little faster, so I gotta stay closer. He sprays a little slower, so therefore he likes to pull back a little bit. But at the end of the day, the job comes out the same. Okay. We'll let that dry real good and then over the whole thing. At least twice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is usually like a 4-coat color.
Okay.
That way it gives the full flop and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see like
just right there, it really flops a little more.
Oh, I can see it whenever I was spraying it over there. He blows snot on that, I'm out. I'm going home for the day.
Were they like this before TV?
So a Facebook friend, he and I chat occasionally. One day, I opened my messenger, he sent me this car, and I couldn't believe it. When I looked at the pictures, I just thought it was perfect, and had it about a year. It's been to a Cars and Coffee, but this is like its first like big public debut. It's a 1980, straight six, 3.3. It has the Gia package with the vinyl roof option. It's got about 86,000 miles on it. It's a survivor car. The only thing I've done is change the oil, new tires, put a hood pad on it, and I've been wanting a 1980 for a while. I have three 79s, and I just like this early Fox. I like the grille and the medallion on the hood, and the color is amazing. I just had to have it, and I've been looking for an 80 for a while, so. I get attached to things. All of my cars have names, so I don't have any kids, so these are like my kids. This is Blueberry. I also collect strawberry shortcake dolls, and my favorite character is Blueberry Muffin. So I try to name my cars after, like I have a car named Elvis. I have a 79 Black Coupe that's named as Toby for Toby Keith. It just depends on the car. Like it'll just hit me one day when I saw this car, I'm like, oh, that's Blueberry. And I just think they're really cool, and I've had so many good memories and made so many good friends in the car hobby. I think it's just a symbol of America, just freedom, just the fun that I have driving it, and the culture. I have so many Mustang friends. It's just like a whole separate lifestyle. I mean, we all look out for each other. Like, there's some people I will only see like at shows like this once a year, but when we see each other, it's like no time has passed. It's just a really great community to be part of.
I want this dog to hunt, so 2 coats of clear, done.
I like you make it shiny.
I like to make it shiny, shiny.
I'm just wondering why you're not done yet.
I'm going right now. I can't handle this pressure, man. I can't handle this pressure.
So
Don't make me quit again.
What about the 24 hours?
So I might have been mistaken on that previous
You know what?
statement.
He's working. He's almost at 48 hours. Almost.
Hey, all I can say is you cannot and will not rush perfection. I'm super excited to see this. So we're gonna bake it for about 45 minutes and then we're gonna pull it outside.
All right, let's check this bad boy out. Everybody loves coming out of the booth.
All right, guys, now that I got my part done, don't scratch it, please.
May not scratch it, there might be an extra hole or two.
No, well, there might be that.
There might be an extra hole or two.
Some fabrication, some unique fabrication.
Right. Every time.
brand new muscle car Mustang RestoMod, presented by Classic Industries and brought to you by Chris Alston's Chassis Works, the home of higher technology. Smeding Performance, building high-performance turnkey crate engines for over 30 years. And by Better Battery Bolt. You are nuts not to try these bolts.
I'm Matt Anderson, Curator of Transportation here at the Henry Ford. Obviously the Mustang wouldn't have been the hit it was if it hadn't been a good product, but I think almost as important as the quality of the car itself was the marketing campaign behind it, the kind of muscle that Ford put into advertising this car. They had advertisements in something like 2,600 different newspapers around the country building up to the debut of the car. They had commercials on all the television networks in prime time. Lee Iacocca was on the cover of Time and Newsweek both in the same week, which would have been considered a major marketing coup back in that day. But I think the biggest advantage that Mustang had in its debut is that Ford decided to reveal it at the New York World's Fair on April 17, 1964. So the eyes of the press were already focused on this event, being a big deal, being a World's Fair like that. By introducing the car mid-year, as we would call it, normally the new cars come out in the fall. Now we're going to release one in the spring. Ford kind of had the field all to itself, so they got a lot of attention that they might not have otherwise if they had been just one other model debuting sometime in September or October. So that gave Ford a lot of oxygen, a lot of attention on Mustang, and helped make it such a sales sensation so quickly. But also, Mustang was very cleverly designed not just to appeal to young men, but to appeal to everyone. And if you look at some of the ads that Ford published, great images of just everyday folks who are kind of transformed when they buy a Mustang. There's an axiom in Detroit that you can sell a young man's car to an old man, but you can't sell an old man's car to a young man. And Mustang was very much a young man's car or a young person's car. So it appealed not just to young drivers, but also to older motorists as well who bought them. Very, very carefully and cleverly designed and marketed automobile.
Let's talk batteries for a minute. Every car has to have one. Batteries come in all shapes and sizes, and they can come in various locations inside the car. Some of them are not very easy to get to. Like in the Corvette, it's actually behind the seat, down in a well below the floor. On the new model Mustang, it's between the strut tower and the firewall. And on this Studebaker, it's not secured very well and the electrical connections are a mess. We're going to take care of that. On this particular car, we don't have room in the engine bay for it because of the supercharger. So we are going to move it to the rear. I like doing that for several reasons. For one, nobody makes a very good looking battery. So in the trunk, you can't see it. Two, we can mount the battery securely. That way it's not moving around. One of my biggest pet peeves is a loose battery. It every time. Every time. Every time. The other reason we put it back here is we can make it look nice. All the cabling looks good, it's out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. This particular battery is a 4-post battery, top post and side post, and we do that so we can make dedicated connections. One of the biggest issues that we see with a side post battery is how it connects. They give you these little bolts here that just don't do the job very well. This is an example of a stock one. These batteries are actually made of lead. They're very soft. They strip out super easy. Luckily, Rod here with Better Battery Bolt has a solution to this problem.
Yeah, absolutely, Richie. One of the biggest pet peeves of the old design was the thread and the lack of purchase for clamping anything on these posts. So the Better Battery Bolt now has a better thread rounded to protect the lead that's on the inside. It's ribbed so you can put trickle chargers on it. And the front is a 1/4 inch square. So now all you need is a ratchet to install the product. It now becomes the socket.
I really like that because these things strip out super easy.
Absolutely.
So the other thing I noticed is like the factory style bolts, they're all flat. But yours here have a bevel on them. Is there a reason for that?
Right. So the OEM style have a barb that would be on the other side here. And the bevel allows the barb to push out and spread and then bite into the outer rim of the lead surface.
So the cable can't rotate back and forth.
Exactly right. So for instance, when you install it, it would bite into the lead and
Gotcha.
it would keep it from moving up and down, and becoming loose just like that.
Right. The other thing I noticed is you have a couple of these in different lengths. Is that so you can add multiple cables?
That's correct. So on certain truck applications or certain car applications, you may have the need for 2 connections or
Right.
2 cables for
Gotcha.
positive. Or you may need 2 negative cables, one to the motor, one to the chassis.
Right.
So you may have separate cables going elsewhere, so you have the longer length, so you can have different cable setups.
And then they come with these protectors that slide over the end so you don't have to worry about
Right.
accidental.
Exactly. In the case of tight quarters, like you're saying in the Corvette or whatever, you put the cover on it and it protects it while it's sitting in the vehicle. So if you had something in the seat back or something falls over and hits now a cover, that's not going to cause an issue.
Well, this is an awesome solution to a very serious problem that a lot of people don't think about. I mean, battery connections are everything. You have to have a good, clean connection to make sure your EFI is happy, your computers are happy, all your dash stuff, all that depends on a really good, secure battery connection.
Absolutely. Clean power is everything.